Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Stephanie V, aka Umi. For those of you who are new here, welcome to my village. So for those of you who saw the sneak peek of this vlog, it was a completely different video, and I actually got my first experience of some technical difficulties as a vlogger. So I'm taking it very lightly and taking it as a sign. I figured that it was a sign from the universe to remake the video and to speak from a different place. So here I am redoing this video for y'all and redoing it for myself. So are your children difficult, or are you not going with the flow? Are you not honoring their flow? I think a lot of times we label our children as bad, as difficult, as too much, and it causes us as parents, as mothers, to feel overwhelmed, overstimulated, and not enjoy, maybe not enjoy motherhood or being a parent as much because of these labels and these titles that we're giving our children without actually really digging into the root and assessing what it is that may be the cause or the reason for their particular behavior, or even for your reason of putting a label on them. What is it on both ends? When I say what is it on both ends, I mean, like, are you doing the work to understand why it is that you're calling your child difficult? Are they really difficult? Or does mom have to do a little perspective shifting, or does the family have to do a little bit more perspective shifting and understanding? And are there better words that we could be able to use when we're describing our children? Because remember, words become things, especially words with intention and a feeling and emotion behind them become things. We manifest that type of we manifest those type of things into our lives. And I don't know about you, but I definitely don't want to manifest a difficult child. I don't want to speak that over my son or my children to come. I don't ever want to speak that over them. It's one thing to describe your child how they are or who they are, and be really real and honest, but it's another thing to actually be very selective about the terminology that you're using, and also the energy behind it as well too. I know sometimes we're tired, I know sometimes life happens, we're not in our mindfulest states. However, how far can we go using that as an excuse? Accountability is a thing that I actually have been indulging in a lot, especially being a mom. I have chosen to be accountable for a lot of things, not only my actions, but also my perspective and how far I'm willing to go to be able to understand my son. So this topic came up to me because I hear it a lot, we see it a lot. If you're watching this, whether you're a mom to be, or someone's aunt or uncle or family member, I'm sure you've heard that a lot. Someone describing their child as being difficult or bad or all the above. I've been asking myself that question a lot. If you follow me on social media, you know that I talk a lot about honoring the flow, honoring your family's flow, honoring your partner's flow, or honoring your flow and honoring your children's flow, and really being able to curate that flow within your household. And when I say that, I talk so much about it, and there's so many layers to it, but right now I'll specifically talk about and focus on the layer of when it comes to our children. I'll kind of be bouncing around in this blog of like when it comes to our children, when it comes to our household, when it comes to our family, because they're all interconnected and they all, bounce off and reflect one another. So for instance, here is an example of me honoring my son's flow. So in the morning, King is a early riser. He likes to wake up super early. Even if he goes to bed super late, he wants to be up, rise and shine. He's up super early. So by paying attention to his pattern, his natural pattern, I became really aware of that. And that's something that I think, and this is a whole different blog. That's a blog for another. This is a blog for another day. With attachment parenting, for myself personally, there wasn't a lot of information on the net that was like super clear about ways to pay attention to your child, ways to be aware. And then also as someone who experienced and who still experiences postpartum depression, which if you guys follow me on social media, you know I've shared that with you guys. Brain fogginess is actually one of the results of depression, and you forget a lot of things. And alongside of pregnancy, your brain shrinks, like literally, and then postpartum as well too. So like, in addition to depression, pregnancy, and giving birth, and all of those things affect the brain in a lot of ways. So one of the things that I just was not aware of was, or even when I was aware of it, it slipped my mind really fast, paying attention and how essential and vital it was to pay attention to my little one, his coos, his caws, what meant I want milk, what meant I'm just pooping, what meant I want to play from birth, and then even now, he's a toddler now, he's 3 years old, so even now, being able to pay attention to those things and include that into our flow and into our lifestyle is something that is super important. And I know if you're watching this, you're probably like, that's so vague, like, why wouldn't you pay attention to your kids? But I think a lot of times we forget that. We forget essential things, and we forget how to be mindful in certain ways. And some of us don't really know how to. So this is why I'm opening up this dialogue and kind of having this brain rant about this specific topic, how we should be paying more attention to them and watching them, because they're telling us, they're communicating with us through body language, through their energy levels, through the type of words that they're using, to their facial expressions. They're communicating with us through all of that, and through their emotions, whether it's big emotions or very subtle and small emotions. They're communicating and they're asking us to listen. So I think a lot of times when children do have big emotions, they're screaming for us to pay attention, pay attention to me. Hello, do you see me? Are you honoring me? Are you respecting me in this moment? And we do the same thing too, whether it's in a self-controlled way, or if it's not in a self-controlled way. We do the same thing as well, where we're asking them to pay attention and listen to us and hear us out. So as someone who understands the law of reciprocity and respects it to the T, I think it's super important that we reflect that within our children as well, and that we give to them what it is that we are asking from them and pay attention to them. So going back to what I was saying about honoring King's flow, I know through watching him, right, being extremely, and when I say paying attention, I don't mean watching his every single move and micromanaging him and breathing down his neck every second. That's not what I mean at all. I mean really paying attention and witnessing him and taking moments through the day to watch him and be with him. Just be with him. So I'm paying attention to like the patterns, like in the morning, in the middle of the day, his energy level, all the above. So he loves to wake up early, right? No matter what time. So what we've noticed about when he wakes up early in the morning is that he is ready to go. He normally does not like to snuggle for too long. I'll say maybe like a half hour, 45 minutes, and he's like, all right, I'm done, let's go, let's get out of bed, we need a change in scenery. And he usually likes to follow that up with a walk outside, because children should be outside at least for 2 hours a day playing, at least. Doesn't matter how you do it, whether it's 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night, or 15-minute increments. It doesn't matter. At least 2 hours. They need to stretch their legs, they need a change in scenery. No one is built to be in a house all day long. No one is built for that. As humans, our bodies were not designed for that, and neither were our children's. So I think the maybe ideology behind stay-at-home moms, or even sometimes homemakers, that we stay home all day long, and that's just, if it's the truth for some of us, I hope that those of you are going outside and stretching your legs and breathing and really making an effort to shift your environment and really soak up our sun, and to not be in a structured building setting all day long, because that just is not what humans, we're just not here for that. So he's very in tune with, the sun rising and the sun going down, and he really mirrors that. And after paying attention to that for a very long time, I get the memo, and I honor him in that way. So instead of trying to force him to, or convince him or persuade him to be in bed for longer than he actually wants to be, I train myself to wake up early as well too. Go to bed a little bit earlier, and wake up. And even if I don't go to bed earlier, really taking accountability and knowing that it was, knowing that it's on me. I know how much sleep I need. So am I going to honor myself in that way and give myself that sleep? Yes, sometimes we're up doing certain things that we didn't get to during the daytime, and that's okay too. But also honoring that and knowing like, okay, I didn't get it done during the daytime. Should I compromise a little bit of sleep, or should I put that for tomorrow to do on my list and make it a top priority tomorrow, so that way I can get a little bit more sleep, because I know that it'll make me feel good. So that's how I honor myself. So by taking accountability, because I know that I can honor him in those ways by paying attention to his natural rhythm. If he's up, I'm up. I'll try to be up a little bit before him, and try to get myself ready. And even if I'm up at the same time as him, emotionally, like waking myself up or just like snapping out of it and knowing that like I'm ready and showing up, he feels my energy, and he goes off of my energy. He's ready as well, and he's like, okay. Or even if he's not ready, if he feels my energy that I'm ready, he will power down and want to snuggle, and I'll snuggle us out of bed, because I know that he won't stay around in bed too long, and I don't want to get myself too comfortable, so I'll do that. So if I don't do that, and he's waking up at the same time as me, and I'm not ready for him yet, and I'm like, let's stay in bed for a little bit longer, he may be a little bit more groggy during the day or cranky. And of course, children we all have to learn. We all get to learn how to flow, and we're teaching them, at such a young age, how to be able to adapt to any situation or adapt whenever. However, it's one thing to learn how to adapt, and it's another thing to know the answer and know the solution, but you are sabotaging not only yourself, but also your child, because you know what they like, but you're not able to give that to them for whatever reason, or you know what they need, and you're not able to give that to them for whatever reason. So then going back to our own perspective, so if you're not able to give that to them, does that really make them difficult, or does that make your own perspective a little rigid? It's another thing, just things to ask ourselves. Because he sleeps all night, right? So because he sleeps, he'll go down to bed around like 6, between 6 and 8, he goes down to bed, and then he'll wake up in the morning between 6 and 8 as well too. So because he's sleeping throughout the whole entire night, sometimes he wakes up just to make sure we're here, and that's totally fine. So because he sleeps throughout the night, usually, he wakes up and he's like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do this. Let us just go. It's basically allowing him to be comfortable and know that he knows what to expect the next day, one. And two, he knows that he's going to be honored in those ways of what he needs. So after we get up, we do breakfast, we do what we need to do and get ready, and then usually we'll go for a walk or hit the playground so that he can like really enjoy the morning of the day. He wants to be outside. He wants to see the birds. He wants to see the sun. He wants to feel the cool breeze. He just likes that type of energy, and I know that. I'm aware of that. So I honor him in that way. So on the other hand, when I'm not honoring him, instead of going with his flow, I'm pushing against his flow, right? And when I push against his flow and I push against what he needs, it's really making my day a little bit trickier. And I'm not using the word hard on purpose, because hard is a surface. It's not a situation to me. I'm being mindful about the verbiage that I'm using these days. So it becomes tricky because now I'm no longer setting the tone. I'm no longer setting, I'm correcting. I'm correcting the things and the ways that I could have honored him, because I know he needs these certain things, and I know that I'm able to meet him there, and I know what needs to be done on my end to be able to do that. And it may take some time to be able to get to this space of knowing what your children wants, to be able to really ground yourself and tune yourself down and turn down the volume of what you want and need, and be able to come down to their level and see them and really hear them and honor what they need. It may take some time. It may not. But for me, one of the things that really helped was was watching him. I spent maybe 2 weeks watching him and seeing how his schedule was and seeing what he was doing. And it changes all of the time because, the seasons flow. I think it would be a little bit ridiculous to expect him to stay the same all the time. Some people are like that, some people are not, but I try to keep my mind open because I know as the seasons flow, as the sun and moon rises and shifts and changes, so shall we. So I try not to put any expectations onto him that I know that are just unrealistic. So what I did was I watched his schedule, and I watched him for, I would say, about 2 weeks, and I got to see, like, okay, he seems to get tired around this time, so what can I do to help him around this time? Low activities to help him calm down a little bit, high activities to help him to function and thrive a little bit more, and to maybe burn some energy, or to get the energy out that he wants and needs. Who knows? So I was really able to tailor our schedule around and our routine around him. Our schedule and routine are really around him. And of course, I'm included in that. Of course, Dad is included in that. We are bigger people, and there are certain things that we are much more flexible about within ourselves, to be able to cater to little man, and vice versa to some degree. However, if we know that he needs something to be able to be the best version of himself, then that is the thing that we are willing to be able to figure out how to give to him, so that he's able to show up in the ways that he can show up, that is not straining him or straining his development, nor is it, not allowing our household to flow, or making things trickier, or allowing us all to have big emotions, things like that. So what are your children needing? Really getting down to their level and understanding what they're needing, observing them, knowing that it's up to you. You could either set the tone, or you can spend your whole day correcting the tone. And really, when it comes down to it, if you're going to spend the whole day correcting the tone, you're putting more energy out there, you're burning more energy, you're basically playing catch up with something that you could have started your day off from the beginning, from the get-go. And it's like this vicious cycle of like, okay, I know what I should have did, but why am I not doing it? What do I need to do to get out of my own way so that I'm able to show up for myself and my little ones and my family? So if you spend most of the day correcting, it's the back and forth of big emotions. It's a back and forth of an emotional pull and tug from the both of you until somebody sets the tone and shifts the energy. And usually that's me. Sets the tone and shifts the energy, and that is a role that I am more than happy to take for my son and for my family. And when I say a role, it's by choice, and usually what has to happen during that time is some serious grounding in myself, to be able to say, hey, what is it right now that I feel like I am pulling and tugging, and why? And is it worth pulling and tugging, and to what extent? So I do some grounding and I shift my own energy, and guess who comes shifting right after me? My little man and my whole entire family. So that's just part one of this rant. I'm sure there's going to be more, but these are just the little ways that I feel like we are not paying attention to, whether our children are showing us that they're having a decline in energy level or an increase in energy level, and they need us to shift their environment to be able to include them in more things, to allow their brain and their development to expand, or if they're asking us to tone it down and bring it back and increase more low activity things, to be able to allow them to relax and cultivate some stillness and learning how to just be. Or even if they're asking us to find a balance between the two of those things, or even if they're asking us to assist them in transitioning from one activity to the next, because sometimes that also will stimulate and bring up big emotions if we're not assisting them in transitioning from one activity to the next. So ultimately, this message is really being present and allowing yourself to pay attention and take accountability. Where is it that you can make some shifts to be able to allow your little person to express themselves or get what they need in those moments? And where is it that you can shift your own perspective? So we're not labeling our children as difficult or bad, or manifesting these type of behaviors or speaking these type of things onto them, because we should be speaking nothing but life into our children. And again, just being super mindful about my verbiage, and it has helped me so much throughout my journey of motherhood. And these are things that I have implemented that have made my journey a breeze and really allow me to go back to me and find that within me, and where I can take accountability and meet my little person and meet my family where they are, and learn and be creative on how to set the tone and how to cultivate flow. So if you follow me on social media, I'm all about this. You know that this is not something that I am going to stop talking about anytime soon, because this is really just what I'm learning now. It's what I'm being aware of. It's what I have the verbiage for now. I'm understanding that it's really about these things, and there's levels to these things, and I'm sure there's going to be more videos on it. But for now, are your children really difficult, or are you not honoring their flow? I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my rant, and I would love to hear about your journeys. I would love for you to maybe answer that question in the comments and share this. Tag a friend, tag a mama, mom-to-be, auntie, family member, whoever you feel would benefit just from this rant, or even from this conversation, this dialogue, to open up this area and allow us to be able to explore and ask some really reflecting and refreshing questions to be able to shift the energy within us and also in our families. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.